What is up, party people? Welcome to Saturdays and Seltzers. My name is Kendra Middleton, and I am joined by Sarah Griffin on the most bussin' and amazing podcast of all time, according to Anthony the Red Sox fan. Sarah, how we doing?
Just dandy. How are you doing?
I am not so dandy, but I will get into it. I am drinking, and I don't even care that this isn't a wine glass. It was just the most visually pleasing. So I'm drinking wine and I'm in my comfy because I'm sad, but we will go ahead and get into our HLH, which is our high of the week, low of the week, and our unexpected hero of the week. Sarah, what was your high?
My high, I went to the Mountain Joy concert Tuesday night. That was a great concert, and I got to get out of the apartment, so that was nice.
Always a good time. You went, it was at MGM?
Yeah, and it's actually my low. I do not like that venue.
I was there last week and everyone had been hyping it up and I didn't love it.
No, I wasn't a fan. It was a pain in the ass getting in. It took forever. And I get it's like a newer place, so they're still probably working things out. Then like the coat check thing was a disaster because obviously they have the bag policy. We went up like 4 flights of stairs just to get to our seats. And that's a whole other thing I have to get into. But then like by the time Mount Joy came on stage, it was 9 and then they closed the bar at 10.
Everyone was like, there's not a bad seat in the house, yada, yada. So I was like, okay, well, it doesn't really matter where our tickets are then. Lie.
See, I was like, because yeah, we were way, way up in like the very last like top row. But so the row we were in, it was like bar stool seats, and there wasn't like, they miscounted when they were putting out the bar stool seats, so there wasn't enough seats up there. And so I was sitting in my seat, and then the guy that was like the security guy that was in that area was like, oh, can you guys like all slide down one? I was like, okay, sure, because this other couple came and they were supposed to sit next to me. They were like, yeah, can you all slide down one? And still a chair was missing, so he's like, can you slide back? My coat was still on the other chair. I was moved for maybe 3 seconds. This girl sat down in that seat immediately, and I went to go look. She wouldn't even turn and look at me, just turned her head, plopped herself down. And so then I was just, of course, the odd one out naturally. Like it was fucking musical chairs I bought. I was just like standing there. I had like awkwardly like grab my coat from
and
under
your
her.
jacket was on the seat?
Yeah, and she just like wouldn't even like turn in my direction to say anything. So then the guy came over. I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, we'll go like get you another chair. Her boyfriend just sat there. Like, they never like. Excuse me, I'm a girl. Get up.
Would have lost it.
Coming over, like a chair is coming over, and I was just standing there. It was literally for probably 2 minutes, but I was just like, okay.
I would have just been like, can you like not touch my things? Thank you.
I was up for maybe 3 seconds and I was sliding down to accommodate to them.
Rude.
So rude. So yeah, that was my low. I don't really like that venue.
Me either. So I'm glad we're on the same page. My high was Zappy Hour, which we will get into probably more because so much other bullshit came out today and this week. But I just have to say that was probably like the funnest 2 drives of football of my entire life. Like I was like screaming in my house.
That was like the most exciting Patriots football there's been in a couple of years now.
It was so fun for like 10 minutes. Plus like you guys know, and I'll talk about it again in a minute. Anything that's like the downfall of Mac Jones, which this isn't like my tea party or anything, but his girlfriend has been on a blocking spree and I think it's awesome.
Really?
Yeah, she's been blocking like tons of people in like Boston sports media, and I think it's so funny.
Honestly, I don't blame her. I would do the same thing.
I don't know. I'd probably be I think you could, but I just can't keep my fat mouth shut. And I feel like I would just like lose it on people. Although I do remember when that Jags coach's wife came after me last year, and that was so fun. So yeah, that was like the most electric, like 2 drives of football ever. And then my low was my neighbors doing construction every day from like 7:30 in the morning to like 9 at night. Mm-hmm. But, and we'll talk about the Jags again, but I just found out a couple hours ago, I'd already filled out my show notes, everything, that the Jags are shopping Josh Allen which is why I am in my emotional support comfy and drinking a fat glass of wine because I am dead inside. Like, truly, he is all we have left. And if he is gone, I swear to God, I'm full tilt Lions fan. Like, it's me and Josh or kill me. Like, I'm out. I'm so fucking sick of this dumb franchise. Oh,
sorry. My text messages are going off on my laptop.
But I'm just so sick of it, dude. I'm so fucking sick of it. But I'll bitch about it again later. But that is truly like the bane of my existence right now. My two heroes. One, Earl's has $9 espresso martinis through the rest of the month.
Like the month of October?
Yep.
Oh, damn it.
I know. They're so good. Me and my friends got our bill the other night. It was me and three of my friends who went, or me and two friends who went. 12 espresso martinis and a basket of fries was our bill. So that was like the most epic bill I've ever gotten at a restaurant. Like, that's just ridiculous. And then today, you'll already have seen my Halloween costume by the time this comes out. Actually, no, you won't. So this is the preview. I'm being Jeff Probst, the host of Survivor, for Halloween. And I got my costume for $8 at Goodwill.
Ooh.
I know. So that's pretty swagger. All my friends are dressing up as, like, we picked like a theme because we're going to a party. So we picked like Survivor theme, and I'm just Jeff, and then everyone's like their favorite player from like other seasons. So it's just gonna be a shit show. But yeah, wait, what are you being for Halloween?
I'm being Daphne from Scooby-Doo.
Ooh, that's a good one. I saw your pink boots and I was like, I don't know what these are, but I like them.
Oh, I wore them to the concert the other night, actually, because they're really, really high. So obviously I just wore them under flare jeans, but I'm so excited to wear them. And I was like, oh, should I return them? But I'm like, I'm just going to try and make the most out of them as much as I can because I love them.
Yeah.
But I am a little annoyed because I'm not going to name any names. But so me and one of my friends were like, yeah, she was one who suggested, let's do Velma and Daphne. I was like, okay. Then like 2 days ago, she's like, oh, I don't want to be Velma anymore. I'm like, I already bought like $100 worth of stuff. But I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm still gonna be Daphne. Like, I like the costume, so whatever. Why would you suggest it?
Yeah, that's like if someone bailed on me about to dress up as Jeff Probst, I'd be like, you motherfucker.
Although I would have been more mad if I was the one being Velma, because Velma, personally, my first thought, I'm like, would anyone want to be Velma?
Yeah, she's not that great. So like, can't be too mad, but
I'm like, I did wear pink go-go boots, so I'm happy.
Yeah, that's a slay. All right, what's your hero?
That was actually my hero.
That was your hero. Yeah. Okay.
Do you have any Saturday off? So
yeah, slay. Sarah gone wild.
It might be low because I'm doing a whole weekend because there's only so much you can do in Boston if you're not like buy tickets to some goofy event.
No, I'm not doing a bar crawl.
Oh, that's what I'm roped into, a bar crawl. I hate bar crawls.
I didn't mean to shit on your life.
No, I've been on one bar crawl and I hated it.
I hate bar crawls.
I hate bar crawls. But this one, at least it's 3 p.m. to 8. So I'm like, all right, I can either bail out at like 5 and just like go off and do my own thing. Yeah. Or I'm like, I could just go home after and it's only gonna be 8 o'clock. I don't like bar crawls at all. But also the ticket was $13. And like to get like tickets to like a bar night was like $50. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
To a shitty Boston bar?
No. Halloween is not a bar holiday. Halloween is a house party holiday, in my opinion. I would much rather go dressed up to a house party, fuck around, dance on a table, and drink my own alcohol than go to a bar with a bunch of people I don't know, dressed up weird and fucking being creepy. Like house party all the way. House party holiday.
See, that's the other thing. I got invited to a house party Saturday night. So I'm like, I could also just leave and go and do that. But I'm holding out hope because I'm like, okay, I'm going as Daphne. I was like, maybe there'll be a boy out there dressed like Fred. And it'll be a meet cute.
Especially because you have a Fred.
I know. They call it like any boy dressed up as Fred from Scooby-Doo already has a Daphne. No one's doing that by themselves.
Yeah, that's probably fair. Yeah, I don't know that I'm thinking of you, Sarah.
I'm still holding out hope.
Yeah, I'll hold out hope for you too. I don't know. I just think it's like a house party holiday. I think people like take Halloween so seriously to the point where like I want to take it seriously, but I don't want to go to a bar dressed up as a 50-year-old man and like have to explain to people who don't get it when they don't see me in my group together. And it's like I'd rather just like dick around. I don't know.
That was like sophomore year of college, what you call it from Finding Nemo, Darla, the girl with like the retainer. I was Darla for Halloween. And I went out first to a house party and like those are fine. But then I went to a bar and people were like, what the fuck are you? Because all these girls, of course, are in like bras and
yeah. I'm just not a sexy Halloween costume person.
I have like the retainer thing. Like I have a bag fish stuffed animals. And it says like rock and roll girl. Like it just was not it.
My other thing about like Halloween weekend is that I got in today's Thursday. We're recording on a Thursday night. I got invited to stuff starting tonight. Halloween is what, Monday?
Was it Chris Cotillo?
Yes.
Can we call out by name?
Yes. Should I call him right now?
Also, and this invite, I want everyone to know this invite for me at least was sent 2 days ago.
Yeah. And I was like Thursday, but the thing is like Halloween weekend, I'm not in college anymore. I can't start on Thursday, go Friday, go Saturday, and then like Sunday's not even Halloween yet. It's like I'll do Friday, Saturday. Other than that, I'm fucking out. I'm too old for this shit.
Hated Halloween weekend in college because one, you need like a billion costumes, and when you're a college kid, that shit adds up so quickly. I remember having to like financially prepare. That's why I'm like, now it's only one costume or bus, but you go out like 4 nights a fucking week.
I know. That's the thing too, is it's like, I'm going to go out Friday, Saturday. Saturday, we're doing our Survivor thing, but I'm going out with the same crew tomorrow night. So we're all like recycling costumes. My friend's going to be Ricky Bobby. She is going to be a great Ricky Bobby. And I'm going to be Ricky Bobby's wife. So like, it's fine. It's perfect. And then like we're going to house parties both nights. So it's like, we could rewear our costumes, but like, we're just going to recycle old ones. It's like, whatever. And Survivor is so easy. I literally spent $6 on my costume. So yeah, I'm just getting too old for like the whole weekend thing. Like I respect people who do it, but I was like, I'm going to take off one day, the Halloween weekend. And that's the only day anyone's going to fucking see me. So I just picked the Saturday. Go for it. I hope your bar crawl is not miserable.
I'm sure it will be.
Oh my God. I just looked at our notes and Sarah put in an NFL trade note. I can't wait.
I did. Like, I don't know much about it. I want your thoughts because I like now get all the notifications. But I'm like, everyone seems happy about it. So.
Wait, I'm about to expose Sarah for a second. I literally died at Sarah sent me a Snapchat. I think it was this morning of her like top played songs over the last month. And 3 of them were Taylor Swift songs. And then the last one was Meek Mill. And I was like, Sarah's entire persona at this point is Philly. We just need to incorporate the word John into your vocabulary.
I'll replace Wicked. Take Wicked out. Imagine me just using John every day.
I think I just
so like, can't picture myself.
It's so good. But Sarah's entire personality at this point is just Philly. I saw the Meek Mill and I was like, yes, dual threat queen.
I was taken aback when I looked at that. I was like, I don't think I've listened to that much Meek Mill in the last 4 weeks, but
that's so good. Okay. So as always, we're gonna start out with baseball stuff. I don't have a ton to say, just like a couple like speaking points. Maybe our notes even cross over a little bit. I want to start with you got your wish. I was kind of not for the Yankees, but not against the Yankees. I kind of was just craving chaos. What else is new? But they're out. Thoughts and reactions.
Thank God.
Okay.
And they went out pathetically.
Bad. Dude, did you see the stands clear out?
Tickets for game 5 were $17 at Yankee Stadium for the ALCS.
That is embarrassing.
Horrible.
Is New York a bad sports town? Some are saying. I just like, that's the thing is like, even I don't care if it's postseason something, I don't care if we're getting our ass beat. Like, I'm going to stay in those fucking seats.
Yeah. They were just, I don't know. It seems like the Yankees are down bad. Yankees fans are down bad. It kind of ties into one of my notes. I don't know if you saw this. Aaron Boone showed before game 5 his team highlights from game 7 of the 2004 ALCS for inspiration. And like when I saw that posted, my first thought was, why would you ever show like your team's meltdown, even if it was years and years ago, as inspiration? Like that just doesn't seem like a good idea. Obviously it didn't pan out, but then they asked Derek Jeter about it yesterday, and he was like I don't really have much of a comment. I just like that loss still stings, so I don't know why you would be sharing that.
Yeah, I don't understand why that's inspiring. And like, that's kind of been the topic of everyone that I've heard talk about it, is it's just like people are clowning the fuck out of them.
Like, you guys, just based off the way you played, like the 2004 Red Sox had fight in them. Those Yankees did not have fight in them. They were not coming back from a like deficit like that.
So I have a note about Aaron Judge. I've heard a lot of talk about him going to San Francisco, like whatever. Obviously something has to, it's weird because baseball is one of those sports where it's like, if any other major sport made it this far into the postseason, there would be no question about coaches keeping their jobs, trying to bring like big names back. But it's like, I feel like Aaron Boone might lose his job.
Well, I think the Yankees organization said yesterday, Aaron Boone's staying.
Did they? Like, I didn't see it.
Yeah. And then I think it was Mariano Rivera was like, I would think if they continue to lose like this and have this kind of like no success in the postseason, like you have to make a change at some point, whether that's coaching or not, kind of basically all but saying like you need to make a change there. Like something's not working.
See, well, that tells me everything and nothing at the same time, because it either means that Aaron Judge thinks that he can win under Aaron Boone, or he's already made up his mind that he's out and that's not something that they have to deal with. Because I feel as though if they were going to keep him, they might make a lot of decisions surrounding him. Like I said, it tells you everything and nothing at the same time. But it's like, I feel like they're both either all in or he's out.
Yeah, I really don't know what to think about Judge, because towards the last few weeks, it seems like everything's been pointing. He wants to be on the Yankees forever. Like he wants to be locked up by the Yankees forever. But then, of course, he gives the same thing every other athlete gives, like, it's a business, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, he's never explicitly said, like, I want to stay here forever.
Do you think he'll take a pay cut to stay there if that's what it comes down to?
I don't think so.
I don't either. It's like, you can say all of the right things and do all of the right things, exactly. But it's like, we've seen so many athletes, especially in baseball, time and time again, be offered the same amount of money from two teams and go somewhere else.
Yeah, like obviously you always have love for the team that like you grew up in their system and stuff, but at the end of the day, like you want to make as much money as possible. I don't blame them.
Yeah. The only other thing I want to comment on before we move into the Devers stuff, I saw that Bryce Harper in the dugout mouthing, I can't believe I just did that. And it's like, I'm not a huge Bryce Harper fan. Like I kind of lump him in with like Russell Wilson and, you know, players like that who it's like, he's kind of cringe to me and I just don't understand it. But this was like a moment where he felt like a human and not just a robot. And I appreciated that from him.
I was so happy because I do feel like he's one of those guys that like, there was an article the other day, like since he was 13, he's been hyped up to be this crazy player. And it just feels like it's never really panned out for him. Like he has all these flashes. And then of course, as soon as he leaves Washington, they win the World Series the next year. He is such a good player. I think the expectations for him have just been so high, even since like before he got into the league, that now that he's able to like deliver a moment like that in the postseason and like send his team to the World Series, it's like, finally, like, fuck you all.
Yeah, it's like I can't even imagine being in that position as a player. It's like that's something other than like doing that in the World Series. Like that's something that you dream about your entire life. And it's like, I feel like I would feel the same way, but I appreciated that from him just because I do feel like he's just one of those like athletes. Honestly, I shouldn't even said Russell Wilson. I should have said JJ Watt because that's the vibe he gives me. Just kind of like a work robot, like just very focused on their craft. And has like some funny one-liners that might not be the most relatable things from time to time, but I appreciated like a relatable moment from Bryce Harper because I feel like we don't get them very often.
Yeah, I'm just happy to see he's having like fun. I feel like he's been kind of miserable for a majority of his career, and rightfully so. But
yeah, totally. Okay, so kind of a huge topic for you. I mean, no, you're not as big into baseball as you used to be, but Rafael Devers is rumored to be re-signing with the Red Sox or in talks to do so, which obviously is something that everybody wants. Him and Xander have been kind of the conversation of the postseason. Obviously we've talked very many times about how we think that he's the most important, but do you think that that's just the only big signing they're going to make? How do you feel about it? What do you think the contract should be? Like, do you have any reactions?
I'd be okay if this is the only big signing they make, because if it's going to be what they're making it out to be, it's going to be like a long, like big paying contract. By all means, I'm totally fine with that. I think he's earned every penny of it, and I want him, like, he's a foundation piece. You build your team around him, and we've all wanted Chaim Bloom to go and spend, like, that's who I want him to spend the money on. If you're not going to spend on a huge free agent, like, spend it on Devers, and Devers comes before any random free agent to me. I don't care who it is.
Yeah, agree. I mean, we said all of last year when this was kind of the talks that they should sign both Devers and Bogarts, but if they had to pick, or if fans had to pick, I think that there would be a bigger fight over Devers than there would be letting Xander walk.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah. I don't know what this means for Xander. I'm like, really, like, I've accepted that he could have played his last game with the Red Sox, but also I wouldn't be shocked if he comes back, but he's not going to take any more team friendly deals or anything, nor should he.
No, especially because he's been with the organization since he was 17. And yes, it's a business and you don't owe anybody anything, but like, damn, that's got to feel like a slap in the face.
Yeah, like, he already took one team friendly deal. He's proven himself. Like, he's won multiple World Series. He's been a leader for this team now. Like, he's one of the oldest guys on this team. Like, it's such a young Red Sox team. And if like every like bad loss, every bad season, he's the one they put out there to talk. So even besides his actual performance on the fields, everything he's done for the Red Sox off the field, he deserves so much money. And if the Red Sox aren't going to give him that, go somewhere where you're going to get it. I agree. 1,000% in support of that.
Yep. Yeah, I'm always pro player. So I agree with you. Two more quick baseball notes before we get into a couple football things. I pre-schedule our clips like 90% of the time to go up. And I pre-scheduled your Phillies take about dancing on my own last week. And I saw that you responded to it and you were like, they're going to the World Series. Dancing on my own is the Phillies now. So I see that you put that in our notes. And I think that that's so funny because I agreed with you and I still do. But like, if you make it to the World Series and fuck it.
Yeah, I was like, all right. Obviously they still just took back because Kyle Schwarber brought into that locker room. I'm not saying they outright stole it. Like, they saw, like, yes, they literally have Kyle Schwarber in the locker room. So it makes sense. But I'm like, okay, that Red Sox team lost in the ALCS. The Phillies are going to the World Series and they've made it their thing. Once you bring that song to the World Series, that's yours.
Yeah.
So I do have, because the Bruins, but I don't know if you saw, they posted a video with Bergeron singing to Dancing on My Own in the locker room and everyone's dancing around, but it was the Robin version, like the original version. I'll just go over that note actually now. I have it in the NHL, but so it's like a funny ass clip, but obviously it's the original version of the song. And I saw this Philadelphia fan on Twitter. It was like, oh, Bruins ripping off Philadelphia sports. The amount of Boston people that immediately came after it was like, no, actually, you guys ripped off the Boston Red Sox. Like, and also this is a different version of the song. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Just let us have this.
Suck it, nerd. How could you not know that?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, there's so many ways you could have like dragged the Bruins.
Dude.
You can't use, oh, they stole that from us when you literally did steal that from Boston.
Yeah. I had like not a similar thing because like someone was coming at me, but I was like, I guess like Clemson has like this like meet at the paw thing, like win or lose, like every home game we meet at the paw. And obviously they haven't lost in a long time. And it's like where fans can go and like meet the players on the field or whatever. And I tweeted and I was like, imagine storming the field after almost beating like Syracuse. And people were like, we meet at the paw. How do you call yourself a sports person? Like, how you don't even blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, brother. Regardless, I would not go on the field if my team almost no.
Yeah.
It's also how someone said that they avoid the fine of like storming the field by it being like a tradition or something. If I were every other school, I would low-key start that fake tradition right now. So next time that my students bum rush the field, it's not $100,000 fine for me. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
That's such BS. It's anyways, not baseball related, but sort of, yes. Okay, you have one more baseball note.
Yeah, today Brock Holt announced he's retiring from baseball. Congrats to him. I hope he is the next up on the NESN broadcast for the Red Sox booth. That's all I gotta say.
Wait, that's such a good take. I didn't even think of that. He was like the first Red Sox that I ever loved. And so it's like weird because he kind of feels like a childhood like favorite of mine, even though I was like definitely like in early high school or something. But it's just weird. I feel like I'm getting old.
I'm just glad that he can always say he's the only player to hit a cycle in the postseason. Because if it was any other like star player, that'd be kind of boring. But because there's utility man Brock Holt, that's like forever etched into history.
I'm happy, but I'm sad. You know, it's like I'm happy that he's like moving on and like, you know, is gonna enter this phase of his life. It just reminds me that I'm getting fucking old.
Oh, me and my mom have been texting about it because, of course, she loves Brock Holt too. Like, love the whole family, just obsessed. So we've been texting about it all day. We're like, no, he'll replace Eck. It'll be fine. Because he's such a Boston guy now, even though he's from Texas. Like, whatever. Like, I know his family like lives here now. Like, they're raising their kids here. I feel like he's always around. He still does a bunch of stuff with St. Jude's.
I think he'd be great on a broadcast, dude.
Yeah, get him in there.
Yeah, I think that he would be awesome. Okay, moving on to some NFL stuff. Obviously, there are a couple huge stories this week that we quickly want to touch on. The first being, obviously, if you are new here, I am an idiot and I'm a Jaguars fan, born and raised, unfortunately. This week, and I've aired a lot of my thoughts on Twitter, but obviously I'm kind of dramatic on Twitter and a little bit more real about my sports takes here, as we both, I feel like, are. We both just kind of shit tweet sometimes, and I don't think people get it. But so James Robinson, our running back, I guess now former backup running back / former starter situation, was traded to the Jets this week, which I think is awesome for him. He was traded to a better team where he's going to get reps. He has like 10 games left on his contract, so he might get a new one or a bigger one or something else. My thing is he was an undrafted free agent who was on a cheap deal. He was productive. He was one of our best players on some of these really shitty seasons. And yes, he had a bad injury, but I think that he recovered well from it. My biggest issue with all of this was that they treated him for a 6th round pick, which I don't even think encompasses the talent that he has become in the NFL, especially considering that he was productive and cheap as shit, like so fucking cheap as a player for us. And it's like, what frustrates me is that I feel as though it's a coaching problem. Do I think that he's better than Travis Etienne? At this point in the season, no, obviously not. But Travis Etienne has a red zone turnover issue. And what if Travis gets hurt? And on top of that, it's like, I think that Doug Peterson is play calling for what he wants his offense to be and not what his offense is. And I think that if that were the case, we would have won a lot more games. Like I said, I know that Travis Etienne is better and it's his backfield now, but when we run the ball, we're more successful. And when James Robinson touches the ball 15 times or more in a game, the Jaguars win. That's a fact. Last week, Travis Etienne had 14 carries and Hasty had 1 for 15 total carries in a game when Trevor is slinging the ball maybe 40 times. And it's like, obviously your young quarterback is struggling. Your receivers are struggling. Why aren't you running the ball? I get that you're a quarterback minded head coach and you want this offense to be that maybe a year from now, 2 years from now, when you get a better wide receiver 1 in there or something like that. But it's like your team's clearly struggling with the ball in the air. So keep it on the fucking ground. And we might have 5-6 wins under our belt now, especially. And I see this like specifically in the Philly game, there was a fucking hurricane. And I think that he drew up these plays, came up with the scheme for the game. And if the weather wasn't a fucking hurricane, I think that his play calling it was a little ballsy and kind of all over the place at the time. I think that they could have stood a better chance, especially because that turnover went our way. But you knew it was a fucking hurricane and you didn't run the fucking ball. The Eagles did, and they found success and they won, even though you were up 14-0 at one point. And I just think that he's so stubborn and his ego is so big that he was like, nah, I don't care about the weather. We're going to keep the play calling that we decided all week. Why? I think that he was just so much more valuable to this team than a 6th-round pick if they were like utilizing the offense the way they could. It has nothing to do with James Robinson. Like, sure, if you want to get rid of him at the end of the season, cool. I understand wanting to get some return for him, but a 6th-round pick is not worth the production that you could have gotten from this guy for 10 more games. And that's kind of where I stand with it. I wanted to touch on it because I'm not even mad that like we're shopping people. I get that like we're past maybe having any postseason aspirations, even though we're in a shit ass division and Matt Ryan's no longer starting. It's just, we didn't have to be here. It's just Doug can't get over his ego of what he wants this offense to be and what it actually is. So I had some people asking for my reactions. I just kind of wanted to clarify my thoughts there. That's where I stand with that. As far as the Josh Allen stuff, like I said, will become a Lions fan tomorrow. I'm so frustrated with this Jaguars team. Like I tweeted that I was so sick of this shit and I just mean it. People ask why I cried when I found out in public at a bar, when I found out that we hired Doug Peterson. It wasn't the fact that it was Doug. It's just that I'm so frustrated because I don't want like could be's or maybes or whatever. I understand the hiring. I'm just so frustrated as to why we didn't bring back Robert Saleh, who's now the Jets head coach. Obviously, W for him taking James Robinson because he knows we're dumb and will sell for nothing because Trent Baalke's a fucking moron. But that's just it. This is why. Anyways, the biggest like story in football this week, I feel like, has been the Zappy Mac Jones situation. And Sarah and I have been talking about this constantly for days.
It's like endless entertainment. It just gets better every day.
The more press conferences that Bill has, the more entertaining it gets.
The worse and worse he digs the hole for himself.
It is incredible. So I don't know. I'm assuming you saw this, but obviously there were Zappy chants early. Felger was all on the Zappy train. It was a great hour. I have shit on Alabama quarterbacks for a long time. I have said that on this show that I don't think that Alabama quarterbacks work out in the NFL because of the talent that they're surrounded with in college. Jalen and Tua, this is their first year that they've had good years. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll be willing to reverse my take if one of them wins a Super Bowl or has multiple playoff like stretches or deep playoff stretches or whatever. For now, I'm going to stick where I'm at. And I know that Mac Jones should get the start. They need to pick a guy and they need to stick with him. But I love the conspiracy theories about Joe Judge and Matt Patricia loving Bailey Zappi because he's like an untouched virgin.
Giving him different like plays and then giving Matt.
And then like the media asking Bill who the starter is, who's healthy over and over again in every single possible way. And Bill just dicking them around and then turning around and giving the story to Field Yates of ESPN that Mac Jones is starting, even though he never told Mac.
I'm sorry. I think I said to you, I'm like, all these people that are like, oh, and Bill we trust have turned on him so quickly. And you know what? Rightfully fucking so. I don't think he could be handling this any worse.
It's to air. See, and nobody's talking about the defense, which was the real issue. And it's like, if the defense kept them in the game, I think that we would have seen Mac Jones in the fourth quarter. But now you aired this kid out on fucking Monday Night Football. This was not a Sunday game against the Jets. This was Monday Night fucking Football against a shitty team that you treated like a bye week.
I'm just like, now Mac lost all confidence. There's all this controversy with the media. Like all eyes are on these two now. And Bill just like continued, like you said, like, I'm sorry, you cannot pull a stunt like that in the middle of a game. And then like, of course, because no one even knew who was starting that day going into it. Like an hour before, it was like, oh, it's going to be Mac, whatever. And then Bill's like, well, like the plan was for him to not play the full game anyways.
Yeah.
Like if it was a close game, he would have come back in, whatever. You cannot like go back in the media and pull typical Bill Belichick shit and not give answers when you started this yourself. Like, that is a issue you put yourself into, and you don't get the advantage, I think, of being like, oh, we're on to this, like, blah, blah. Like, shut the fuck up.
And even today at 11:45 in his press conference, he still wasn't giving answers. He was still beating around the bush, because I think that he knows that he doesn't really have a guy at all. So it's like, if Matt goes out this weekend and throws a bunch of picks and then has a shitty game the following week, I think absolutely he wants Bailey Zappi back in there. Even if it comes down to the Joe Judge and Matt Patricia favoring, like, I don't think Bill wants to be held responsible for a kid that he doesn't fully trust. But I think that their issues are opposite. I think that Mac Jones is not as naturally gifted, but has the maturity, is used to the spotlight, is used to the criticism, has the podium experience, can go out there and talk to the media. And I think Bailey Zappi is very immature, but has a lot of natural raw talent. So the thing is if Mac Jones shits the bed and he gets another opportunity, can he deal with the media? Can he deal with the crowd? He was flip-flopping on a lot of answers at the podium last week. I do think that he is just Matt Patricia and Joe Judge's, like, no other offensive coordinator has touched this guy. So, like, he's our child. We're going to call all these plays for him. The team's behind him. We found success with him. He's not turning over the ball at the same rate. I don't care. I know that Mac Jones has thrown 12 picks in the last 8 or 10 games or something like that. I don't think they trust either of them, and they don't want to put a label on either of them, and they just want to fucking smooth sail through this. But if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks.
See, my thing is, speaking just like strictly in terms of like their skills as a quarterback, I feel like Mac is the smarter quarterback of the two, but he's made so many more dumb mistakes. Maybe it's just because we have a much bigger sample size to take from it than with Zappi, but I'm like, he is the smarter one of the two, I think. But like you said, like, Zappi, like, he does have that natural talent, and like, I don't know what's going on with the offensive coordinator. Who fucking knows? But either way, I'm like, it's kind of funny how quickly also, like, everyone was like, oh, we want Zappi and blah, blah, blah. And it was like fun for 10 minutes. Like, this is our guy, blah, blah. Then he started shitting the bed too. And like you said, there's no real starter between the two. And then they all just like turned on Zappi too. Like, like, what did you want?
It's true.
What did you want?
See, I don't think that Mac Jones is a smart player. I actually think he's really dumb, which is why he makes some of the mistakes that he does. I just think that he has like experience making quick decisions because of the pressure he was put under in big games at Alabama. But I think that the issue that Bill has with him is because has found a lot of success at Alabama, was the guy kind of across the nation in Alabama at a big school. I think that he has a fucking attitude problem.
You think so?
I do. I really do. I think because when he rolled his eyes at Bill the other night, and when he was talking to Kendrick Bourne and he was like, I'm out. And then the way that he's handled some of like Bill hasn't said anything to me with the media. I'm kind of just like, he said the words rat poison, which is a Nick Saban saying at the podium the other night. He was like, I'm not dealing with all of this like rat poison or whatever. I just need to be the best quarterback I can be. And it's like, if you're going to throw, and I know that Nick and Bill are friends, but it's like, if you're going to throw like rat poison in there, man, you better mean it. And man, you better play well. And I do think that Mac Jones is the better guy to go with right now, just because he has an entire season under his belt. He's not a rookie. The Patriots are in a tough place, in a tough division. If he stinks it up, fine, fuck it. But I'm going to stick with Bailey Zappi being my favorite of the two, strictly for singing Stacey's mom in the middle of that fucking drive.
Oh yeah, Zappi has much better vibes.
Yes. Yes.
Based off of that alone, I'm like, yeah, he can get the start.
Elite vibes. And I think that Patriots fans just, and I know that if Mac Jones hadn't turned the ball over in that situation, he would have went out there and scored. Bill never would have taken him out. People never would have been chanting Zappi's name. But I have a lot of Patriots fans that I love to death. We have a lot of Patriots followers. I am so here for this fucking drama and chaos. Like, I just feel my pain, Patriots fans. This is like, karma for 2017.
It's been years and years of success. Every franchise goes through it. This is just like the funniest way to be going through it, in my opinion.
It's like, that's the thing, is like, Patriots fans can be mad. Like, they can be pissed at whatever they want. But even if you are like a New England forever fucking lunatic, you have to admit that this fucking shit is funny.
It's funny. It's good entertainment.
It is so funny. Like, it doesn't matter whose expense it's at. It is gold.
Like anytime the Patriots have been involved in like this big like media controversy in the past, it's been something like Deflategate or something. Like not anything like actually like, oh, like this is funny. Like
Mac Jones is like losing his job and Bailey Zappi's like Stacey's mom is God. Like that is awesome.
It's just silly. The whole thing's so silly.
I love it. Okay, speaking of silly, I know that you saw this headline as well. Russell Wilson on his fucking flight to London spent 1 hour sleeping, like 3 watching film, 1 stretching, and like an hour of high knees on the plane.
My only thought on this, how has no one on his team just like rocked him in the face at this point?
That's
like,
what I was wondering. How did an offensive lineman not like pick him up and shove him in a seat and be like, sit down and shut the fuck up?
Like it doesn't, if anyone was doing that on a flight, I'd be like, this guy fucking sucks. Let alone Russell Wilson. Go to hell. Literally jump off this plane.
I just picture him in full pads in the aisle doing like up downs. And with every up down, he's like, Broncos country, let's ride.
Like so cringy.
Mr. Unlimited.
Oh, he like makes my skin crawl.
How is that dude banging Sierra?
It should give us all hope. Like you can do fucking anything if you're rich.
Like the opposite of like every hot perfect girl ever getting cheated on is Sierra with Russell Wilson. Like this is your golden ticket, mid-ass men.
Truly.
Like
Truly.
Find your Sierra. Find your Sierra. If I were on his team, I would have been like, yo, team doctor, give me a motherfucking Xanax now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing too, is it seems in the last couple of weeks, we found out a lot more about Russell Wilson's situation in Seattle than we knew. It's like Richard Sherman has come out and like spoken some not so nice things. Marshawn Lynch said that if you wanted to get a hold of Russell Wilson, you had to go through his agent. You couldn't just call him. So it's like, I don't feel bad anymore. I think that we were all like, whoever his like marketing team, PR team was in Seattle was doing a great job of hiding Mr. Unlimited from the wild. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Yeah. What a downfall he's been on.
Thank God. Thank God. I love the exposure. I want to say Brady and Rodgers sucking is awesome. I had the conversation today of should I drop Aaron Rodgers from my fantasy team for Jared Goff, which is a conversation I never thought I would have, but I almost did it. I'm giving him 1 more week.
Okay, that's fair.
1 more week. If nothing happens, he was calling for his players to be benched. So if he doesn't work it out this week, it's never going to happen. And I'm picking up fucking Jared Goff. Christian McCaffrey, the 49ers, that offense is about to be a fucking Swiss Army knife. It didn't work out so well first week. I have no problem thinking it will turn around. And then Tyler, drum roll, please. Sarah has an NFL trade note, and it is I am peeking right. I'm gonna finish this entire glass of wine for this note. Sarah.
Okay. Well, I put it because I don't know obviously, you know, I'm like the most like basic, like bare minimum football fan, but I need your input on this because I know
I need Meek Mill right now.
The Eagles traded for Robert Quinn in exchange for their 4th round pick to the Bears. So I need your thoughts on this because I know Eagles fans are really excited and happy with this. It's like rich get richer type of deal.
Okay. First of all, I think that is a beyond fair trade on both sides for them. I think Robert Quinn has been traded quite a few times in his career. I think that he's absolutely going to help kind of maybe push this Eagles team over the edge into maybe like a late postseason, winning their division, maybe a bye week situation. I think it's fucking phenomenal. I think a 4th round pick is also fair considering the age of Robert Quinn. But my favorite thing to come out of all of this was Roquan Smith having to leave the podium, fighting back tears after finding out that Robert Quinn had been traded. That is amazing. Real men cry. And I know that they're friends and like best friends. I don't think he was crying because they're friends though. I think he was crying because he was jealous. Because probably. I would want to get out of Chicago too. Yeah. I think that he was just like, this is everything I wanted.
Yeah, I just really cried and I was like, oh, they're just such good friends. I didn't even think that. Yeah, I wish that was
literally. He's probably like, this man's about to win a Super Bowl and I'm stuck with the Chicago Bears.
In Chicago.
So I think it's a beyond fair trade. I think Chicago's getting a lot better. They're finding themselves out. They're figuring out Justin Fields' role in their offense. They have some picks coming up. I have faith that Chicago could turn a corner. And I think that this benefits both teams. He could have been maybe worth something more, but I think a 4th round for his age and how much he's been thrown around. I think that this is beyond fair. I'm happy for both teams. I hope he wins a Super Bowl.
Hell yeah.
If the Eagles win the Super Bowl, can we go to the parade?
Yes.
Like I want to climb a greased pole immediately. I want to burn something down. I want to be like the picture of Travis Scott when everything's on fire with like the fucking microphone, just blasting Meek Mill and hitting shit.
Dude, imagine if the Phillies win the World Series and the Eagles go to the Super Bowl. That city may not be standing.
No. So I was listening to a talk radio show the other morning saying how the biggest thing that the Eagles could do to win a Super Bowl isn't signing anyone before free agency is over. It's the Phillies winning the World Series, because that would just be like the added like sports town drama adrenaline that the Eagles need to just full send.
Well, it's so funny because, you know, obviously I'm covering the Flyers. And so clearly the big focus in Philadelphia right now is the Phillies. And then second to that is the Eagles. But people keep asking like the players and John Tortorella. And I get it. Like it is an interesting storyline where they're like, oh, does that like light a fire under you guys at all? Like respectfully, like
no.
Like someone asked, because I think it was like the Flyers end up coming back in a game. And at the same time, the Wells Fargo Center was playing. The Phillies came back at one of the NLCS games. And they're like, oh, were you guys watching on the bench? Like, did that see you and like encourage you? And I forget what player said. He's like, I mean, you can write that it did if you want, but like we weren't watching from the bench. Like, I get what they're trying to do. And like, you want the Flyers to be relevant and stuff. And it's a nice story. But I'm like, respectfully, if the Flyers even like break 500, I call that a win. I think I said that last week too.
Yes.
And I'm like, they're not going to be a part of the championship contention. Like, let's settle down. Let them enjoy like the championship town, sure, but don't try and make it just more than it is.
Yeah. See, that's the thing for me. Like, I'd get it if they were asking like the Sixers, because I grew up like the crossover between fans in major cities. Like, okay, I get how you could like a baseball team, a football team, and a basketball team. Mm-hmm. I get that group of people. Hockey fans are just so different, so far removed. I get how people like cross over in their city or whatever, but if you're like a diehard fan of a hockey team, it's just those people don't often cross over, intersect in the same way, because hockey is just so different. And like people can disagree with that, whatever, but hockey fans and fans of the other three major sports are just very different people, and they don't often intersect, in my opinion, in the same way.
Yeah, like I know, because it was kind of cool that one day in Philly, I think it was like all three teams were playing on the same day. Like the Eagles had the bye, but it was like the Phillies clinched it. Then everyone came to Wells Fargo Center after, and they're all in their Philly stuff. But that's the thing, like everyone was just like, let's just keep the party going and go see a fucking Flyers game. It's probably like $20.
Yeah.
But it's like everyone's focus is the Phillies, but then you did see like the diehard Flyers fans there, all in their Flyers gear. Like they probably could give less of a shit about the Phillies.
Yeah. And it's like, honestly, this isn't like, I don't mean this to sound how it's about to, but like most hockey players like aren't American. Like they don't care. Like they don't give a shit.
Well, someone was like, because John Tortorella obviously is from Massachusetts, and someone was like, oh, I thought he was Canadian. What
Fair.
about John Tortorella makes you think that man is Canadian?
Hockey.
Like, but if you even hear him speak for like a minute, like, no, that is not a Canadian.
That's actually kind of a good transition into our NHL stuff anyway. Do you have any Flyers notes?
I do.
Okay.
Find it.
We can talk about that before we talk about the Bruins and the Sharks.
Well, one of them kind of ties in because it's like about Carter Hart. I kind of was comparing him and Linus Ullmark. So I'll just like start with my Linus Ullmark comment just right now. Yeah. I think Linus Ullmark, because I wrote a story this week, like how sustainable is Carter Hart's like hot starts year. You know, he's 4-0. He had the second highest save percentage right now, just behind Jake Ottinger. And I was like,
king.
I think, yes, truly a king. Theo, you need to shut the fuck up.
Show us the cat.
No. So anyways, Carter Hart, my argument is Carter Hart, I think obviously he's due for a big bounce back year. He's had a tough last 2 seasons. And right now he looks really good. You know, we see players get off to hot starts all the time. Goalie's such a volatile position. Like you're going to have bad games. Shit's going to happen. I think personally he can, like we've seen it in his rookie year and then his second year too. Like he can play at a very high level. Like he's a very, very good goaltender. Like he's being called for the Vezina, like just to be in the conversation his rookie year. I think he could do the same on his own this year. I don't think at all is the record going to reflect that, because even though the Flyers like defense has improved in front of him, for the most part, I still don't really see this Flyers roster as an NHL caliber roster. I think their focus is still just playing those young guys, and that should be their focus. Like your focus is the future, but I don't think Carter Hart's going to get the respect he deserves just because he doesn't have the greatest team in front of him. Whereas Linus Ullmark is off to such a hot start. Like he's looked amazing, incredible, like very much like if you were to pick the Vezina right now, would be in the top
goaltending
3.
in Boston is awesome.
Yeah. And like he has like a great team in front of him. Like the defense, we'll get into it like more specifically. They look great. And then that's without Charlie McAvoy. Like it's just going to get better. That's the thing with like Ullmark. Like I think it can sustain for him because he has such a great defense in front of him. Carter Hart, I feel like between the pipes by himself, yes, he can keep up the rate he's at as long as he can stay healthy. But I don't think anyone's really going to be able to recognize that just because you're going to see all these ugly losses by the Flyers. You're going to see their defense fall apart. Yeah, like your only 2 like true defensemen right now on that team are like Provorov, D'Angelo, like
their median age is like what, 24?
It's like their average age is 26. They have 8 guys under the age of 25, including Carter Hart.
Yeah, they're all so young, so young. And it's like, that's got to be defeating as a goalie because it's such a position where like you could beat yourself up about it. And it's like, how could I be better? Like I could have stopped. Like some of that shit will haunt you. But it's like, that's the only thing that I worry about some of these young guys being on teams like the Flyers is I'm like, how much of that shit can you take before you're just like kind of like beat down confidence wise?
Well, it just sucks because I feel like for Carter Hart, because the Flyers have had so much goaltending issues since like 1997, it's like you get these like high expectations. He had such a strong 2 first years that I was like finally the solution to all our problems. Then he has these bad couple years, and yes, he played bad. Like he did play bad, but he didn't even have an NHL product in front of him to help him out. So that doesn't do anything. The offense also sucked. But then I kind of compared it to like Jake Ottinger, where it's like, everyone knows who Jake Ottinger is because of that incredible postseason run he had. And they're like, oh my God, look at this 22, 23-year-old. Carter Hart's 24. Him and Jake Ottinger are playing on the same level right now. They're both at the top of the standings, all statistically. But the only one that people are paying attention to is Ottinger because like the Stars are like, yeah, this is a good team. Like they can make the postseason. The Flyers, what's their like look at?
Paul Bissonnette would say it's because Jake Ottinger is handsome and that's all that people care about.
But it's just like, I don't know, like Ottinger, everyone's like, yeah, like this promising young guy. And of course he still has more to prove because he is a year behind Carter Hart. But like, God forbid he has a down year, which doesn't look like he's going to. But if he did, like, get torn apart, but at least, you know, like you have a product in front of you that can like pick up the pieces for you. Whereas Carter Hart does not. If he has a bad night in that, it's a loss.
Yeah, it's true. I will say, I know, like, obviously being without McAvoy sucks, but he has a career in the booth when his actual like hockey career is over, because he was in the booth the other night, and I think he's obviously like kind of quiet and reserved. I think that he could like open up a little bit more if he got comfy, but I really like, I had a fun time watching him in the booth.
He's so cute. He's just like adorable.
He's like a golden retriever of humans.
Yeah.
Like, he gives me golden retriever vibes.
Well, there was this one time me and Jordan were out at Banners. It was right after the Bruins got eliminated last season. I don't know if I've told the story before, but a bunch of the Bruins were out at Banners, and there was a group of boys there, and they were like super excited, like wanted to like take pictures and stuff. The only one to take pictures with him was McAvoy, which like fine, whatever. Charlie McAvoy came over and sat down with these boys and like ate dinner with them, like had drinks with them. I was like listening to it. Of course, I was eavesdropping. He's like, honestly, you guys, just like enjoy college while you can. Like, make the most of it. Like, have so much. It was so fucking cute. I was like, those boys are gonna remember that for the rest of their fucking lives.
That's gonna be like, this kid's gonna like tell that to be like his like grandkids, like, this is my story of my grandpa as the time he met Charlie McAvoy at a bar.
Well, me and Jordan are like, those kids probably like came back to school and like told people that. They're like, no way, dude. I'm like, meanwhile, like, I'm telling this story because I was so like, oh my God, it wasn't even me.
Anytime those kids go out from now on, or they're like, should we stay in tonight? Should we go out? Should we get extra beer? They're gonna be like, yo, Charlie McAvoy would want us to have these extra beers, okay? Like, Charlie McAvoy would want us to take this green tea shot right now, bro.
Literally. It was so sweet. And then like the rest of the Bruins, like, again, it's your night out. You probably don't want to like interact with fans, whatever, like just enjoy yourself. But it was, McAvoy was the only one to take pictures with anyone, only one to like even talk. Like the rest were kind of just like talking amongst each other on their phone. Again, I get it. But then like he just came over and sat with them, like, my heart, you're so sweet.
Yeah. I was like, this is just piggybacking off that, and then we'll move on. But I was like, kind of like talking to this kid, like maybe a year and a half ago now. And he was like, oh, like, I'm playing pool with like some of the Bruins right now. And I was like, no way. And he was like, yeah, I just like beat some guy named Pasta. What the fuck kind of name is that? And I was like, and this is the moment that I knew this relationship would not work out.
No. Absolutely not.
You don't have to be a sports person when you're like, but when you're like, oh, Pasta, and you live in Boston, I'm like, question mark?
Yeah. What rock do you live under?
Yes. Okay. Speaking of the Bruins, I think we can go ahead and talk about all of the Bruins bullshit. Obviously, I had a couple notes. One being their costume, their group costume.
Slayed.
I don't know why Derek Forbort and Charlie Coyle sent me the most out of everyone, but they like Princess Peach and Yoshi slay.
That Yoshi costume is too small.
I loved
not
it.
Complaining.
No.
That did not fit that man.
I just love how he's in the back, no tooth smile, just in the Yoshi outfit, and then Derek Forbort is just like
Derek Forbort getting that concert made my day. I feel like you see that guy smile like once every few months, and it's like the slut. Just the thought of him, like, I know he's like, oh, I have to go get gas after this.
It's so good because, like, you know that he like volunteered to be Peach probably, but then just like pretended to be pissed. It's that like that was what he was stuck with, as if you couldn't have just. I'm obsessed. Also, people saying that Brad should have been Wario was the top comment out of all of it because it's so true.
I know. I like Nick Foligno, I thought was a really good Wario, but yeah, if Brad was that would have been like spot on.
It was so good. So good. I loved it. We talked about concussions last week. You guys know where we stand. Why has nobody, and maybe they have, I don't know this, I can't Brandon Carlo has 5 career documented concussions now. I feel like we have to talk about it because it's been such a huge storyline, and it's like, obviously we talk a lot about the Bruins on this podcast, but holy shit, man.
He makes me nervous. I mean, we saw with Andre Kasha, I think he's gotten like his like 7th or 8th, and I'm like, that guy needs to hang it up. Like, he's going to hurt himself. I say Brandon Carlo's maybe one more way to like, you need to just hang it up at this point. Like, it's not worth it.
If like he were my loved one, I just would be like, what are we doing here, bub? Like, it makes me sad and scared.
Especially in hockey, it's like those guys, like they're like, we're hockey guys. Like, we don't, like, if you get injured, it's whatever, like all this stuff. But when it comes to like concussions, you just can't be fucking around.
Especially because like, that's just what's documented.
Yeah.
That's the scary thing for me.
Every postseason, we see it as soon as the team gets eliminated. Like, this guy had like a broken femur, a broken laundry list of things that you don't know during the season.
Yep. Yeah, it's scary. And like I said last week, I just hope that it gets to a point, like specifically in football, but across the board in sports, where like people don't feel the need to lie.
Yeah, I agree.
I also just have 2 more notes, and then we can talk about some more Bruins. I'm good. Sorry. I just want to, I hate to talk about like radio shows that are local on this show just because, but I do have to say LOL at Felger saying that Taylor Hall can't skate. And then the night after, him just like kind of putting on like a half clinic.
Well, the game I went to last week, Taylor Hall was the one who scored twice. Like, he won the game for them. He won it in the shootout. Then he had that game on Sunday. And I'm like, what? Like,
Tuesday had another goal.
What games are you watching? Like, I don't even understand what he's watching at this point, because he makes all these comments. I'm like, none of these are even like relevant to stuff being like, you're not watching games. I refuse to believe he's actually watching anything, because what? I don't know.
It's like, we know that they're mostly Celtics and Patriots. I get it. But it's like, why would you have such a blasphemous take? Like, it would take you 2 seconds to look at a score sheet.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't get it. And it's like, not true. It's straight up. Like, even if you do watch a single game, it's not true.
No, they just need to stop talking about hockey. I can't.
Sarah. And then I saw that you had the Brad Marchand notes in here, so we can move on to the rest of our Bruin stuff before I make a quick Sharks note. I can't even imagine how relieved you are. I think that they said that he's expected to play like 17-ish minutes tonight.
Yeah, I think it's like max 17 minutes. He's not playing the next game, which that's totally fine. Like, keep him on a short leash, yes, but the fact that he wasn't even supposed to come back till after Thanksgiving, and I do know in the past he's come back a lot earlier. Like, he definitely seems to recover from stuff quickly. But I'm like, good. I love having him back, but also do not hurt yourself. Like, yeah, don't overdo it. So I'm fine with that.
It's the same thing with the Mac Jones thing. Like, I don't even think, if Mac Jones wasn't healthy enough to play the whole game last week, don't put him in. If you're healthy enough to, kind of ease yourself back in, hockey's obviously a different story. Just don't make it worse. I know you want to be the guy, contribute your team. A lot of you guys are, kind of winding it down. It's all about the long haul at this point.
Mm-hmm. Also, this is just a side note, but I'm still doing like supervising at the NHL.
Yeah.
This person literally, like, I'm technically on at 6 p.m., waited till exactly 6 p.m. to send me this huge long message. Can you give me a fucking second?
Jesus Christ.
Okay. Anyways, moving on.
You want to talk about the defense?
Yes, I'm so pleasantly surprised with defense, specifically Clifton and Forbert. They are statistically the top defensive pairing right now. That was according to that. I don't know if you've seen like Jay Fresh. He does all those like intricate data tables. I was just looking at those, and yeah, they're like, he was ranking the top defenseman pairings, and those two are up there. And you know what? I think, especially Connor Clifton, I owe an apology. I have torn that guy's game apart so many times. He has really stepped up. I think we said that last week, that both of them have stepped up. Like, they look really good. And the fact that you're adding McAvoy back with Lindholm is huge. And I think for the first time, we're seeing an issue, not just on offense, like now that Brad's back, like, oh, who's the odd man out, which we'll get more into. But once McAvoy comes back, like, I know Riley's not playing tonight. It's like, you have too much talent. You don't know what to do with them. That's a great fucking problem to have.
I love that Connor Clifton is obviously a physical player. Like, he is a very physical player, but I have to say that my favorite thing about like Forbort is that he's not just physical when he plays, he is physical down to like the second whistle. Like, first whistle, he obviously, but he will throw some bows. Like, he sticks up for his guys. And I know that we have said some things about him, especially last year, that like he wasn't the biggest contributor in certain situations, but both of them, I think, have really stepped up, had a good season so far. And I love that they both have a lot of attitude and a lot of physicality. And I appreciate that in not just a hockey player, specifically on defense.
I just think it's wild because last year, especially before Lindholm came, it was just like we're talking about, this entire defense is just Charlie McAvoy. Like, he's playing 30 minutes every night. He's the only one doing anything positive on the ice. And yes, he's one of the top defensemen in the league, so you would hope that. But it was literally like, if Charlie McAvoy doesn't have a perfect game, like, your defense is non-existent. And I think Matt Grzelcyk is a solid defender too, but again, he's not a top defenseman. So
yeah, well, we talked about that.
Very happy with this defense right now.
Yeah, especially because like there's not a lot of changes on the defensive side of the puck this season for the Bruins. And last year we were raking them over the fucking coils because it, like you said, if Charlie McAvoy wasn't having a perfect game, we made all of the, oh my God, Charlie McAvoy's back has to hurt, like blah, 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 all of those comments down the stretch. And it's like, this doesn't even seem like the same defense anymore, like the same lines. Like, it's just these players, like, yeah, a couple things have changed and people are out and whatever, but they just do not seem like the same players. And thank God.
Yeah, that kind of ties into my next point, which is just like, Bruins are exceeding all expectations right now. And I think that my two biggest roster questions are, one, Craig Smith. I feel like he's someone that we haven't seen a ton of this year, which is weird because last year I feel like he was a very important part of this team. And I don't think by any means Craig Smith is a top 6 player, especially given the amount of talent on this roster. But even just the way he's like been used on the bottom 6 is like weird to me. And when we have seen him, he's kind of invisible. He's not doing much. Seems like a good trade candidate. But I also feel like he's a very streaky player. So I'm like, if you can get like in a groove, but I just don't know how he's going to get into a groove when he's not playing that much. Then my other question with this roster, why the fuck does Trent Frederick get so many chances? There are so many, like Jack Studnicka gets the one game up. It was a bad game, immediately sent down, whatever. Jack Studnicka is easily a better player than Trent Frederick. I get like just based off of position alone, there's more opportunity for Trent Frederick on this roster. He is not ready for the NHL. Like, he's had more than enough chances. He's had so much regular playing time. Every time he's on the ice, he's either invisible or makes a silly mistake. And I don't know if it's because he like will rack up an assist like every 4 or 5 games or something, or like get 1 goal every 4 or 5 games. I just like don't understand why him specifically gets so many chances and these other young guys are just sitting in Providence.
Yeah, it kind of like gives me like, not to like shit on anybody, but like it kind of gives me like Zach Senyshyn vibes. Like, he just underperformed anytime he was pulled up. It like, obviously I'm not a Bruins fan, so the Trent Frederick stuff doesn't bother me. I get why people are pissed because he doesn't perform to like the expectation, but it does make me more upset that Studnicka is not getting the opportunity that he deserves for someone who's obviously of lesser value.
Like, Frederick was in pretty much a majority of the games last year. He's pretty much always on, like, he's been benched a couple times this year. Yeah. But then like today he's taken out, or he's in the lineup, and then AJ Greer's not in the lineup, who, yeah, as someone told me, it was like, oh, well, he didn't have a great game last game. I'm like, Trent Frederick hasn't had one good game. Greer's had multiple good games this season. Like, why are you benching him for a guy who hasn't done anything? To me, I think he's the odd man out on this roster. It's not that big of a deal because you do have, like, especially on your bottom 6 guys now, like Nick Foligno, who have stepped up. I think Thomas Nosek is another one who's kind of hasn't done much, pretty invisible. But again, because this team is so, like, there's so much depth everywhere, it's not as noticeable. But I think if I were to take a couple odd mans out, it would be Frederick, Craig Smith, and Nosek.
So I just want to circle back to your exceeding expectations comment. Obviously, they are exceeding expectations as is. And now you're getting Marchand back. You're getting McAvoy back. Do you think that the sustainability is obviously higher, I'm assuming, but like, what do you think about the chemistry of what's going on now? Obviously, those guys are seasoned. They are leaders. They have experience, yada, yada. But we have seen in other sports and in hockey, like people just not have the same like sustainability and chemistry once some of these big name players come back. Is that a concern for you, or are you just like full steam ahead?
See, my thought is this team seems more like good vibes, like bonding, great chemistry than since like 2019, I think, but even more so maybe now. And, you have David Krejci come back because he's like, Patrice Bergeron want me back. Like, I'm coming back. And I think it kind of is like, when you get someone to come back like that, Patrice Bergeron, there was so many questions, like, is he retiring or not? I think you kind of just have to be full steam ahead. I think it's the great that you're exceeding expectations right now. I don't like, obviously you're going to have like these lulls in the season. I'm probably going to be ready to off myself because of it, but that happens with every single hockey team, like whatever. We're seeing with the Rangers right now. They're having kind of a shitty start, like after looking pretty solid, like it's going to happen, whatever. It's a long season, but I just think like there's so much working in their favor. They're like, unless you have a complete meltdown, this has to be sustainable. Like, look at your roster.
Yeah, it's true. It's deep, it's experienced, it's hopefully soon potentially healthy. Any more? Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, when your second line includes Pasta, Taylor Hall, and David Krejci, like that's a top line on pretty much any other team.
Yeah.
You have no excuse.
Yeah. So I feel as though playoffs are bust, like deep playoffs are bust, especially because Bergeron situation, Marchand situation, Pasta's, I feel like looming contract conversation. Like it's here, it's now.
There can't be any first round exits. No. Like last year, I never really had these like huge Stanley Cup aspirations for that team. This year, I do. Like last year when they lost to in the first round, it was honestly a pleasant surprise. They even brought it to 7 games. Mm-hmm. This year, I don't care who the opponent is in the first round. Like you have to at least make it to the second round with this team.
Yeah.
With that was your roster. There's no excuse in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Any other Bruins notes?
Nope.
Okay, I just have one comment about the Sharks. Obviously, like their season is already, we're what, 8 games in, and I'm already just like, fuck you losers, I'm out. The only thing that I have hope for left this year is that, and this has been true so far, and I can only hope that it will be true the continuation of the season. I don't care if you suck, just fuck some shit up for people like you did the Las Vegas Knights last year. Give some people some nasty games. I don't give a shit. It's the only thing that I'm living for if I'm watching hockey at fucking 11 p.m. on a Tuesday night. That's it.
Yep. Chaos.
That's my only Sharks comment is I don't want peace. I want problems always. Okay, the rest of our hockey notes are yours. We have one NBA note and then into our closing stuff.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. Claude Giroux will be meeting with the Flyers for the first time since he was traded next Saturday in Ottawa. Obviously, it's not going to be in Philadelphia, so I'm sure that whole game will be. I think the Senators are coming to Philadelphia the next week, so I'm sure there'll be a huge thing for that. But a lot of like Philadelphia fans were upset because Claude Giroux, when he got traded to the Panthers, was like, oh, like I'm not ready to give a formal goodbye right now. Like it's coming. Then he never made another post about it, whatever. And like, okay, we're getting ghosted. Like it's just never going to happen. But so one, the fact that he's now going to be meeting with the Flyers for the first time since, and then also I saw some stuff, his wife posted on her story that they like the family was spending the day with the Players Tribune. Usually when athletes like talk to the Players Tribune, you know it's going to be something like that's going to make you cry. So yeah, I feel like Flyers fans are most definitely getting the goodbye they've been waiting for, and it's probably going to make everyone cry just because who the fuck doesn't love Claude Giroux?
I love him. That was what I was just going to say is it's like, you're not getting ghosted. I don't think that he's that type of guy. I just think that I look at him and I'm like, he's just so emotional that he can't do it. You know what I mean? Like,
I made a tweet the other day. People kind of dragged me for it. I'm like, maybe it's just my taste in men, but I was like, why? It was kind of like a dig at Paul Bissonnette and how he's like, oh, girls only watch hockey for Tyler Seguin. I was, who the fuck's watching hockey for Tyler Seguin when there's Claude Giroux? I think Claude Giroux is so fucking handsome.
Yes.
Beautiful, man.
I don't think that these dumb straight motherfuckers like Paul Bissonnette get the female gaze.
No.
Girls like bisexual men or bisexual looking men. Why the fuck do you think girls like fangirl over Harry Styles and whoever the fuck the kid is that played Spider-Man? And if you're us, Claude Giroux, like, the female gaze is real. Shut the fuck up, Paul.
I'm like, Claude Giroux is a man. Like that, the facial hair, like everything. That's a man.
Pretty
like, Tyler
men.
Seguin, I'll admit, when I was like 13, 14, obviously, I was like, I love Bruins. I love Tyler Seguin. I still have my Seguin jersey. I have my Seguin jersey. And yes, Tyler Seguin was my favorite player at that time because he was hot and I was a little 14-year-old. I'll fully admit that. Also, he was 19. So I was like, I mean, it could happen.
Yep. Yes. Yes. Sarah, young Sarah, promiscuous.
Yeah. But I'm like, now I'm like, yeah, like he's a conventionally good looking guy, but
yeah,
it comes back to the female gaze thing. It's almost like when guys are so conventionally attractive, you're like, okay.
Yeah. It's not like I like manly men, don't get me wrong, but like bi men or like metro men have my heart. The female gaze is fucking real. If you look like you take care of yourself and you shower and cut your nails each week, like I'm in.
Claude Giroux is like the manly man. Like he is chef's kiss. Oh, yes. Beautiful agree. Man.
That is our man.
All right.
Philly,
well, that was like
Philly and Claude Giroux.
I'm like, anyways, my other two notes. One, this kind of ties in with the set. Well, it does. Josh Norris could be out for the entire season. That's a huge blow for them. Yeah, that's tough, especially because they are like, this is going to be an exciting season for them. And now you're losing one of your top forwards. That fucking sucks. I hope it's not the entire season, but it doesn't sound too great. He might need surgery.
Especially because a couple weeks ago, we were both sitting here talking about like, they even have a little bit of depth going on. Like they, you know, that,
that sucks.
And it's different in hockey because like, it's not like you're like a team or a unit or whatever. You have a line, which is like a unit, but like once that takes a blow, like there's way less people on the ice in hockey. Like it's a big deal.
Yeah. Then my last hockey note is just the poor Canucks have yet to win a game. They are like 0-5-2. People are throwing jerseys on the ice. I'm like, we are 7 games in. That's brutal.
I have a story for you that happened to me today. When I went to the thrift store to get my Jeff Probst Halloween costume, someone had donated like their entire life collection of Canuck shit at the Salvation Army in Portsmouth. So if you are looking for some Canuck shit, it's at the Salvation Army in Portsmouth. Like an entire, like literally life's collection of Canuck shit just donated.
Canucks fans are down bad. I don't blame them, but I'm like, all right, it's still early to be giving away everything you own.
I was just like, God damn.
Also,
it was pretty good.
I have to get up really quickly because Theo, I think, is locked in somewhere. So
okay. I have a basketball note that I'll get into anyway. I just have one basketball note really quick while Sarah takes care of the cat. Grant Williams got ejected the other night, and I think that it was fucking hilarious. For some reason, as of late, Grant Williams is kind of turning in to the Draymond Green type of player for me. I feel like Celtics fans are going to hate that take, but it's not that I think that he's like a dirty player. I think at times he definitely is, and his attitude gets the best of him, but he gives Draymond Green vibes to me. And we've gone into the Ime Udoka, Joe Mazzulla situation, but it's just very evident to me that both of them have like attitude issues. And while it's funny for people on the outside, it does concern me for Celtics fans. I was just saying how I think Grant Williams has Draymond Green vibes after his ejection the other night at times. which we got into the Joe Mazzulla and Ime Udoka situation, but their ejections for me, just like, I think that they both very clearly have anger problems. And if I were a Celtics fan, that would concern me.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my only NBA note. I feel like I get into hockey before I can get into basketball because of football and everything else going on. The sports equinox really does it in for me. And it's so hard to get basketball here, of the Bucks and stuff.
I'm just like, I always say, oh yeah, I'm going to get into the NBA this year. I never do. I think I'm just like way too far up hockey's ass to even like go anytime. Cause I'm like, they play at the same fucking time.
I know.
Mean, yeah, the Celtics and Bruins usually don't play on the same nights, but I'm like, for the most part, it's just too much going on at once. And I cannot bring myself to get into it.
I've been like triple screening it. I don't know how I'm doing it, but I'm trying. Moving into our closing segments, neither of us have a pop culture segment this week, but I guess we could throw out that I guess Travis Scott is cheating on Kylie Jenner.
Oh yeah. I'm like, okay, shocking.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like whatever. I don't care. It's kind of tea, but like, whatever. Fuck it. Tea party segment. I was going to ask you about the Taylor Swift album, so I'm glad you put it in here because I want to talk about it, but I want to get to your note first.
I don't know if you saw this, but so Taylor Swift released a music video for one of her new songs, Anti-Hero. I'm sure you haven't seen it, but so the Taylor Swift documentary that's on Netflix, she talks a lot about the eating disorder that she's gotten over the years. Because there was at some points, everyone's probably seen pictures, like she was sick thin at points. Mm-hmm.
I do remember this.
Yeah, like when you're in the spotlight, like that happens. Totally.
It's hard
like,
not to.
Even if you're out of the spotlight. But so she's been very open, talked about her eating disorders. And then like on the flip side, when she did gain weight, like magazine covers like, is Taylor Swift pregnant? Like blah, 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 like just tearing her apart. So then in this music video, that song's basically just about her struggles with her body image. And she, in the video, shows a scale. And on the scale, when she steps on it, it says fat. And people were outraged by this. It was like, that's so fat phobic, like all this stuff, like huge controversy over this. And to the point where YouTube took the scene out of the music video. I think somewhere else took it out of it. I'm sorry. I like to think that, like, you know, I understand what fat phobic means, where I could recognize it. It's a song about her personal struggles. One, if that's how she's like feels, that's not on like you to make it about yourself.
Yeah.
One. Two.
Yes, I agree with that.
Two. Like people, it's okay for the media to call her fat, but when she does it herself, it's like, you're the worst person in the world. Like you don't care about anyone, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you talk to the media who will call any celebrity fat if they're over like 100 pounds? Why aren't you freaking the fuck out about that? And like, I hate being that person. Like everyone's so sensitive, but it's one of those things where like, this just like wasn't about you. It's a song about her personal body image issues.
I'm not a Taylor Swift person. We go over this all the time. I got a song into her new album and had to turn it off because I fucking hated it. Like her music's just not for me. Whatever. I will die on the fact that Gen Z gets their feelings hurt on some dumb fucking bullshit sometimes. I do appreciate Gen Z. I love the backbone of Gen Z, and I love a lot of the shit that Gen Z fights for. I'm a member of Gen Z. You're a member of Gen Z. But sometimes this shit just goes a little too far. Like, why are we offended by everything? And I'm kind of a wackadoodle. Like, I'm pretty far, you know, whatever. But like, sometimes I'm just like, can we shut the fuck up?
It's just for me, the like hypocrisy of it all, because it's like Gen Z also, like you said, like they're very open about everything. Like they like to talk about like issues like this, because in the past, you don't see that a lot in the older generations. And to the point where, yes, now like it's normal to talk about like struggles with eating, like eating disorders, whatever. Like, and here this woman with this huge platform, like she's this like big pop celebrity, is like, here's my personal struggles. They're like, no, what the fuck do you want her? She's like, all right, let me be quiet and
not talk about body dysmorphia whatsoever.
Like it's like literally an issue for everyone in this fucking world, including Taylor fucking Swift. So I don't know. I was just like, and I think it's really just bizarre that YouTube like went as far as to take it out of it. Like, there's so much worse out there. That's
Andrew Tate was there for how long?
I'm like, Kanye still remains on the internet, but Taylor Swift calling herself fat. Like, she wasn't calling any of you fat. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I think that she's well within her right to do whatever with that video. I will say I did think it was a little weird how last Thursday night, the entire broadcast, they were like, oh, Taylor Swift, sneak peek of her new album coming up, Taylor Swift, blah. And then it was a silent, like 30-second commercial with like 5 clips from like all of her music videos. And that was it. Like no music, no nothing.
Oh, see, that's where I beef with Taylor Swift when it comes to that type of shit, because I actually have another comment just about Swifties in general. One, because they make out every little thing she like, oh my God, it's an Easter egg, blah, blah, blah. That woman, like, she like baits these motherfuckers, okay? Like, you think you're getting some big thing and it's like a 2-second clip. Maybe I just don't have the like mental capacity in me to read into every little thing like some Swifties do. I'm like, either release the song or don't. Like,
yeah,
I don't have time to bat around the bush like this.
Yeah.
And I know other people love reading in that type of stuff. I do not.
No.
And that kind of brings it, and this kind of loops into your tea party. Swifties need to, like, because, you know, Taylor Swift has that song on her new album called Karma. And they're like, oh, isn't that interesting that the week that Kanye, like, is losing everything, like, Taylor Swift's new album comes, I'm like, you understand he's literally, like, hate criming people. Do not bring Taylor Swift and petty pop culture bullshit into this. This has nothing to do with her. Like, this, like, he's an anti-Semite, like, oh my God, I'm like, you guys need to shut the fuck up and learn to read the room.
I agree with that. And I can't say it because I'm obviously not a Taylor Swift fan. So I'm glad that you did, because I agree with you. But my tea party obviously being that Adidas dropped Kanye West, not because they wanted to. No. Let's not even fucking
still give him the credit.
No. And then he tried to go to Skechers, and Skechers was like, I don't know what the fuck you think this is, but it is not this.
It's run by Jewish people.
Literally.
Owned by Jewish people.
Literally. And it's like, this is no longer getting to a point where anyone can defend Kanye. If you are still a Kanye fan, please don't follow us. Please don't listen to our podcast. I am against any anti-Semitic comments. I just fucking, how did we get here?
I just like don't get how he continues. Like, we've seen it, like Instagram, Twitter, they'll take people, like Donald Trump has not seen the light of day on mainstream social media. Like, okay, like, yes, he was tweeting some fucking insane shit, but I'm like, none of it was openly anti-Semitic, like what Kanye's doing. He still just remains.
Yeah. He basically had to like threaten Adidas to like drop him, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
On a lighter note, I have a tweet of the week. Very generic. I don't know who runs like I think it's Nabisco, but like any of their like social media, but like the Cinnabon, Twitter, the Ritz crackers, Oreos, like all of that are just horny on Maine 24/7 with each other. And it is so fucking funny. I love like a big moment on social media where like brands will do some like cheeky shit. This is so insane. Like if you don't follow it. Oh my God. I have to like go look up some of them so I can read them to you really quick, but they are just all like horny as hell on the TL, like crazy tweets and shit.
Oh, I have seen the Cinnabon one. Actually, I've seen them.
And then they'll all just respond to each other and it's crazy. It's so crazy. I don't want to look at their replies. What are their tweets? I don't know. Like, if you don't follow any of these accounts, you should, especially because like whoever runs the Oreo cookie account is like a Taylor Swift stan account. But like some of their shit is just so funny. Like I will see it pop up sometimes and Cinnabon will be like, who's horny right now? And I'm just like, what the fuck?
I see those ones.
And I'm just like, who does this when I'm here for it? It just always makes me laugh, even when I'm in a shitty mood. Only other thing before we close out the show, some dude like swiped on me on Hinge last week and was like, never took you for a frosting girl and like stuff like that. And I was just like, all right, I am sketched out. So I'm a frosting girl.
But interesting. Okay.
Slay. Sarah has no tweets. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Nope.
My closing thought is that I am going to get real star slut for a second. Tyler and I have been talking about how there's an eclipse, and I have a theory that some major bullshit's about to happen in some of these like big college football rankings and stuff. I think Dabo's gonna lose next weekend. They have a bye this week, but I think he's gonna lose next weekend because he has major Scorpio placement. I think that's also why Nick Saban lost, was because it was like pre-eclipse, like Scorpio placement, like craziness. So Tyler and I are tracking sports bets based off of astrological charts at the moment. So I will report back. I don't care if you think I'm crazy. I don't give a fuck. I'm obviously the insane one on this podcast, but I'm going to track it and let you know. And if Dabo loses next week, I am going to start sports betting and winning money based off of the fucking moon. I don't give a damn.
I love that.
So that is my closing thought. Thank you so much for listening to Saturdays and Seltzers. Keep on sipping, y'all, and we will see you next week.